while lines dug deep furrows in her face. Working for Reeve wasn't helping her preserve her youthful vitality. Slipping the cigarette between two fingers, she pulled it away long enough to blow a cloud of smoke in our direction before barking, "What do you want?"
"Reeve sent us,"
Bronx replied while I coughed, gasping for some clean air.
"Oh, you're him, huh?"
Her eyebrows jumped toward her hairline and her mouth hung open in surprise. Apparently, I wasn't exactly what she'd been expecting. "Yeah, I'm him," I said.
"You gotta come inside to do your thing?"
"It helps. Reeve said he wanted this place thoroughly protected. If I don't know what I'm protecting, things could go wrong." I leaned close, flashing a wicked grin while struggling to ignore the gagging body odor rising from her. Horribly, painfully wrong for anyone inside. The woman jerked away from me, her dull brown eyes going wide. She pulled open the door and moved out of the entrance so Bronx and I could enter the house. From the exterior, it looked like a normal suburban house. You would have expected to see a tidy living room with upholstered furniture and floral patterns, neatly piled magazines on the coffee table, and maybe a stack of cartoon DVDs beside the TV in the corner. You would have been wrong. The house was a lie. It had been chosen so it wouldn't draw any attention. The police didn't expect to find a lab for manufacturing lethal drugs in the middle of suburbia. They were looking for things like that in the slums on the other side of town. The curtains were drawn over the front windows and the living room was lit by a single desk lamp resting on an old orange crate. A large man sat on a metal folding chair behind the crate, cleaning one gun while another was disassembled and resting on the crate. A small TV played in the corner, sound muted so he could hear our conversation at the front door. The guard watched us as we entered but said nothing. The stinky woman shut the door behind Bronx. She dropped her half-burned cigarette on the hardwood floor and crushed it under her stained pink house slipper before guiding us to the back of the house. We passed through an empty dining room, and she started toward the kitchen. But I stopped her at the stairs leading to the second floor. "What's up there?" She shrugged her thin shoulders.
"Couple cots, bathroom. Reeve don't keep any kind of furniture or valuables here."
"Where are the other guards?"
Bronx asked. The woman narrowed her eyes and I held my breath. I didn't want her to whip out a cell phone and call Reeve to check our story. I wanted to get in and out.
"He needs to know, otherwise your own guards could be locked out."
"Oh, that makes sense,"
she murmured, and it was hard not to laugh because Bronx was just piling on the bullshit.
"The other two are picking up dinner. There's usually only 3 guards here, plus me and my husband. Except on delivery and pickup days. Then Reeve sends over 4 more guards."
We continued to the kitchen where we found all the counter space covered with takeout containers and greasy fast food bags that desperately needed to be thrown out. The trash was overflowing with empty beer bottles and more rotting food. This place needed more than extra security. It needed a cleaning service. But then both the people I had seen so far also needed a few lessons in personal hygiene. At the back of the house, the woman pulled open another door, and we descended into the basement. This wasn't one of those nice finished basements with a big screen TV, mini fridge, and pool table. This was an old-fashioned basement with cold stone walls, concrete floor, and exposed pipes overhead. All the lights were bright, bare bulbs, and an odor of mildew hung in the air. A man looked up from where he was leaning over a long table, his black eyes enlarged by his thick glasses.
"Where the hell have you been, woman?"
"I'm ready for the next batch," he shouted as we came into view. Along the wall behind him was another long table, but this one held a row of silver boxes and several glass containers with tubes coming out of them.
"Those men Reeve called about arrived,"
she snapped irritably, waving one hand back at Bronx and me. The man's eyes settled on us, and his frown deepened.
"Why are they down here?"
"We need to see all of the premises so that the work can be done properly,"
Bronx said, but the man didn't seem to be as trusting as his wife. His frown deepened as his fists landed on his hips. "Is that one of the new gravity convection ovens, or are you still using forced air?" I asked, stepping around the woman to approach the table. The man straightened, his frown disappearing as he glanced over his shoulder at the row of ovens behind him.